Carl Jung pretty much saying what I've been saying about the time of the spiritual master is over. He was ahead of his time, obviously, because he would have written this in the 40s or the 50s, probably the 40s. But I think it's really important right now to evaluate everything against your own inner sense of things. Because even when you do that, it's tricky. Like my spiritual master, Barry Long, used to regularly say, don't believe anything I say, test it all in your own experience. And even with that, I would still kind of go, yes, Barry, you know. It's a bit like that Monty Python thing where, in The Life of Brian, where all these followers appear outside his door, and he's trying to, you know, stop them from following him, and he's saying, but you're all individuals, and they all go together all at the same time. Yes, oh Lord, we're all individuals. And it's like that. Like even when somebody, the guru, the master, the spiritual teacher, even when they're saying, don't believe anything I say, test it in your own experience, even with that, it's still hard to not do that. So if they're saying just believe everything I say and be a so-called holy man, well, that's even harder again. And if they're on a, you know, if part of their own unconsciousness is that they are hungry for power over people, or they want money, or they want sex, or whatever, all the usual sort of things that gurus get up to, then it's even worse, you know. So having a very strong inner compass is really important, and being able to find out what the truth is for yourself, what's true for you, is so important. I think now more than ever. I mean, we're seeing this kind of reflected outside in all the fake news and misinformation. I saw some little article somewhere saying that they're starting to teach now in schools how to find, how to discern between misinformation, basically how to navigate misinformation. Great, it's a great life skill. But it's the same in the spiritual life. But in the spiritual life, it's even more charged because it's all inside. So it's not like you can go and fact check something. If somebody says something, you know, this is the truth. This is the, you know, this is what it's all about. You can't go and fact check that. You can't. You have to listen to what they're saying and check it on the inside and see if it's true. And you know, it's not easy. And it's like we'd love for somebody to tell us, wouldn't we? Wouldn't we love for somebody to go, now look, here's the truth of life. Here's how it all works. Here's what it's all about, and here's your purpose. That'd be great, wouldn't it? But you know, I'm joking about it because it's not how it works. We have to find these things ourselves, you know. And it's like I'm going to be getting ready for the enlightenment retreats in Madeira in September. Already I'm thinking about it, and it's very much part of it is it requires huge self-reliance to begin to entertain the possibility of getting enlightened, and then to define it, and then ultimately to arrive at a place where you know it to be true for yourself. And it doesn't matter what anybody says. That's like, I have got lots of unconsciousness like everybody else. And I have insecurities, and I question myself about things like everybody else. But being enlightened, amazingly, I've never had it about that. It's always been very solid on the inside. It's probably one of the most solid things on the inside. And I know to get to that place, it required a huge amount of self-reliance. Now, I'm not saying you have to go and get enlightened or anything like that. I'm not saying that at all. But in the spiritual life, this process of knowing something to be true yourself, that's why I keep saying the time of the guru is over, the time of the spiritual master is over, the time of the spiritual teacher is over. I keep saying, I am none of those things. I'm not interested in being any one of those things. I am just like you. And I'm just, the only reason I'm saying this stuff is that it might be of help. I'm not saying that I know the truth. I know what works for me, and I share that in a friendly way, like a friend would. Like, I went to see this great movie, I think you'd really enjoy it. That's about as deep as it goes in terms of my motivation to say anything. And anybody who gets up on a stage and starts laying down the law that this is the way the world works, this is the way the spiritual life works, as if it's true, and there is one truth, is a so-called holy man or woman. And I would discourage, I would treat it with a lot of caution, because it's so seductive. Tell us the way it is. Make it simple. But it's not simple. And not in my experience anyway. You have to find it for yourself. You have to come back to your own. Is this true for me? I hear it. I love the idea of it, but it just doesn't ring true for me. I just don't get it. And then you have to face that and go, God, I have to go and, I have to do some more research. I do have to look somewhere else, talk to someone else. Because most people who talk about consciousness or the spiritual life or that kind of thing, it's always a percentage of how much of it is useful or how much of it is going to ring true for you. It's rare that you'll get 100%. In fact, if you do get 100%, I think you're probably not noticing the person's unconscious, because it seems like it just comes with the being alive, that we all have unconsciousness that we're working our way through. So if you think that there are some people who don't have that, well, that's where a lot of manipulation and power and bad things can happen if you stop using your own discernment. So I think old Carl was on the right track here with his avoiding holy men. I don't know if I'd avoid them. I like listening to them, but I listen to them knowing that they've got their unconsciousness. But then they often say a lot of good stuff. Maybe it's 50% good, 50% rubbish. Maybe it's even 90% good. The more good that they say, it actually makes their unconsciousness more, difficult, because it's harder to see it and to kind of go, that bit's true, but this bit's not. If they've got like 90% of what they say is brilliant, then you're more kind of in the habit of going, oh yeah, that's good, oh that's good, that's good. You're sort of nodding, It's like that thing that they do with people where, you can get a person to nod their head by asking them a lot of questions that the answer to the questions is yes, and then you could slip in a no one, and chances are they'll say yes as well, because they're just in the habit of nodding their head. It's kind of like that when somebody's got a lot of truth and they say a lot of good things. You have to be even more vigilant then for what their particular unconsciousness is, and to be okay with going, yeah, that 90% great, that thing, no, don't really get that.